Hello everybody. We're going to have a series of short videos to cover functions, Python functions. So I will begin with a presentation and then we will have a series of videos that go over the code. So first in the presentation, right? We're going to cover the motivation. Why are we discussing this topic? Why are we covering functions? And then understand what is a function, and then we're going to go over how to build functions and how to use them. That's going to be the hands-on part. So first, before we even started, let's discuss the definition of a function. So best place to go is always the actual dictionary, right? So you go to the dictionary and it says that a function is a subroutine, and then it explains what is a subroutine. But if you then go to subroutine and search it in the dictionary, you'll find that a subroutine consists of instructions, tasks that are repeated. So that's what it's all about. We have instructions that we're going to be repeating. So if we're going to repeat them, the same functions over and over and over, it's good to package them in the form of a piece of code that we can just call back again, so that we save a lot on typing. We don't have to type the same code over and over and over again. Say you're going to do the same equation to, say, transform degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So instead of writing the same equation over and over, you put it in one place and you just call the equation and you pass the parameters. You pass the temperature and whether it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, and the equation, the function will return the result for you, right? So you write your code once and then you use it many times. And that will allow you to structure your code, to put your code in modules in a library, and you can focus on the code and optimize that library, optimize that code, simplify it. You can test it in one place, because imagine this: if you repeat the code over and over and over and over without a function, if you made a mistake in one of the formulas, you'll have to correct everywhere you use that formula, and you'll have to search throughout your code where you use your formula. So you want to simplify it. And now if you want to package this in a way that you can share it with others, you can put all of those functions into one specific file that can be loaded in a program, and so that the program can import that file. And we're going to be seeing that. In fact, in your beginning, from the beginning, you've already been doing some of this already. So that is the big idea, right? So it is as if you were going to order a meal from a restaurant. Well, the restaurant is not going to reinvent a recipe, right? It's just going to take what is that you order, what choices you made. Do you have the salad or the soup or both? Are you getting fries or a baked potato with your steak, etc.? You know, all of those. You want rice or mashed potatoes, or all the choices. So when it goes to the kitchen, the chef, the people in the kitchen will see what you order, and then they'll use the formula, meaning the recipe, to cook your meal, and then they deliver it. So basically that's similar to what a function does, right? So in a function, we have, let me highlight a few things here for you. We have a very important word, which is DEF, for define, is the definition of the function. In Python is DEF. In other languages, it's actually spelled out define. It depends on the language, right? And you have a function name. Then you have, within parentheses, you have a set of parameters. And at the end of that line, you have a colon. Let me circle it again for you, the colon right there. It is required always to have the def. It's required. It's required that you have a file name. It's required that you have the parentheses. It's required that you have the colon. But the parameters are optional. Sometimes the function needs parameters. Sometimes you just call the function and let the function do its job. It depends on the function. Next, the instruction is the function is going to have a set of instructions. In Python, anytime you have the colon, what follows is indented type of code. So is the case here with functions. Everything that is part of the function is going to be indented. You see? All of this is indented. That's why I have this line over here. Just remember that in other languages, it's not required to indent, but you have to tell the software where the function begins and where the function ends. And sometimes other languages have a curly brackets at the beginning and a curly brackets at the end to show where the function begins and where it ends. So the function is going to have instructions. And at the end, when the instructions are done, they may do some calculations like the example that I showed you that I mentioned where you may transform Celsius degrees to Fahrenheit degrees. The result may be put into a variable that you return. So when you call the function, you will get that value. But not always you have to return. That is actually optional. Sometimes you just call the function and let the function do its thing. It may print something to the screen, it may open a gate, it may trigger something, but it doesn't have to return a value. So the next thing you have is how you call the function. So when you call the function, you call it by the name, and you always use the parentheses and the optional parameters. If the function requires parameters, you enter the values of the parameters. If the function returns something, then you can assign that value that it returns to a variable. In this example, I use the variable a. It's just a variable. You can call it anything you want, right? So that is how you use and call the function. So now, in the next video, we're going to run some code. But for now, I just wanted to leave you with the definition of the function, how you build the function, and in the next video, again, we're going to do the actual code. All right? Okay.